and welcome back to Mr. Caro Plays FM24. Today we're going to look at a different type of thing, and this is not related to transfers, it is about training a player. Now when we go to our players, you can either do this by squad or through training themselves. I will do it through squad because I want to look at something specific. And then we're going to pick out a player from my squad. Now, you can pick any player that you want. In this case, I'm going to pick Robbie Brady. This is a bit older, so he's likely to have a few of the things that we're looking for, and that is player traits. Now, if we click on his player traits, you can see and them listed in here. You can see that for him, for example, there are quite a few. Now, if we go to another player within my squad, let's pick out a younger player, for example, this dude over here, and then we go to his traits, you can see that there aren't any in there. Now, this isn't necessarily reflective of age. However, it is worth pointing out that if they've had a longer career, then they could pick up more traits. If they're an older player, then they may not want to pick up new traits, simply because it could, distract from their other training. It may have negative effects. The advice there would be, unless there's something specific that you want to teach a player at his latter part of his career, then maybe it's not necessarily worth it. Okay. Now, in order for us to get traits, to learn new traits, if you like, we can go to development and then training, and then we go over to where we see our player traits. Now, interestingly, he is actually learning a trait. It's not in there yet, is still green, which means we are learning. You can cancel that trait if you want. And then once he's obviously that trait is completed, it then becomes white, and then you can select to do another one. So if we go back to our squad and we'll try and find someone who doesn't already have a trait in there, or at least isn't learning one currently, if we go back to our development, and you can see that he is also learning a trait. Let's go back to the third one. Let's try and get lucky again. Now, I would always recommend that maybe you would your players, it's not a bad idea for them to all be learning a trait, perhaps, unless obviously, like we say, an older player. So the fact that a lot of these players are already learning a trait is not a bad thing. It's something that we would kind of recommend anyway. And this is a finally found a player that is not learning a trait. So third time lucky, we've found one we can use. So when we go down to that again, you can see instead of it being cancel, which it was previously, it says discuss new trait. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on that. When we get here, you can see that a list of your coaches, and you can see what they are specifically, their specific area of coaching, if you like. For example, C. Pitt is a tactical. E. Dickman is tactical as well, and C. Reynolds is defending. And then it's kind of worth pointing out that when we're trying to pick up a trait, we're looking for a specific position, in this case a defender. What do we want him to want to be able to do or learn how to do to improve his overall game? So if you wanted a ball-playing defender, for example, maybe you're going to go to defending, you're going to go to passing, and then you're going to select one of those options. As you can see, there are a lot of options on there, but maybe the way I want to play is I want to play simple balls on the floor, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go wish to start playing the simple game. Now, you will get... If they agree with that, they will just say, yeah, that's a great idea, away we go. You can ask them for another suggestion. In this case, we will ask them for another suggestion. And they're likely to pick run with the ball less, and not necessarily likely to pick that, but if it's a defensive position, they are likely to give you defensive advice, okay? And then perhaps you might want to do that, but if you wanted a ball-playing central defender and he had the attributes to do that, not saying this guy does, then if they say run less with the ball, obviously that's going to impact that training, okay, that learning of the trait. So it is worth pointing out that although your coaches can offer you some great advice, it is worth pointing out that they aren't necessarily following exactly what you would like to do with a player, okay? So the idea being that if they're saying to run less with the ball, if you don't want him to do that, then you can disagree with that, okay? And you can put on there, I've taken into account what you suggest, but I prefer to proceed with my original idea. And then you can see that then, although he doesn't agree with it, they're going to start teaching and working with him on that trait. And then you can see in here that it is now one of the traits that he is learning, okay? And now the final thing I was going to show you, if we pick out Robbie Brady, because we know that he has some traits in there, again, we're going to our development and training again. And then what we can do, if we want to, we can cancel or teach him to stop a specific trait, to get rid of a trait, if you like. So if we go to our defending and we go to our attacking, I think this is probably going to be where it is. And then we're looking to stop, maybe restrict long shots, or the kind of the opposite to what we've already seen in there. I mean, it's sometimes hard to see. It is hard to see this in here, but what you'd be looking for is like stop shooting from distance, for example. So, I mean, you could get one like that, I guess, and then, you know, it's too old. You are going to get that with older players. But yeah, sometimes, although we failed in this attempt, you can see them there. It says stop learning something. In that particular occasion, you would just click that and it would reverse the trait, and then it would be red opposed to green. Okay, I haven't got any good examples here. Maybe we'll try one more time to see if we can see one. I don't know if this will work. I was kind of reluctant to do this for the obvious reason that we've already failed once in doing this. Maybe we can get rid of... So yeah, you go. Stop diving into tackles, throwing himself into tackles. So if we click that, they're going to say that he's too old again, but I'm going to say I've got much better experience. You may never get the trait complete because of his age, but if you do, you will now see that the one that we now want him to lose is now red, and we can also cancel that out if we wanted to, okay? So it is worth pointing out that you can both get rid of and add traits, but this can kind of develop the finer points of your player, okay? You know, if we go to someone like Messi, for example, I don't know if he's still playing in my save. I'm going to assume he is. He'll be older. That's probably a bad example because it have gone a few years in. Let's do Bellingham, for example. Ignore the capital letters in there. We're going to pick out Jude Bellingham, and you can see that he has traits in there as well. Okay, so if you wanted to mimic the way a player plays, a top player, if you like, you can see his traits in there, and then you can scroll down and maybe you can see, he works well. Tries to play way out of trouble, and you can kind of mimic those traits. Okay, so it's a way of developing a player without his attributes perhaps getting better. I'm sure there could be some impact on that. Perhaps I don't know that for a fact, but it's a way of kind of adding your personal touch to the way their player plays. Okay. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Hit the notification for more videos. Thank you and goodbye.